I'm Fetty. I'm an advisor to the board for PDR Nation. We're sponsoring this talk with Mr. Kordon. I do have to give a disclaimer. As a nonprofit trade organization, we can't discuss prices, percentages, anything like that. No price collusion. Any mention of price or percentage during this presentation is for example only. So without further ado, Paul Kordon.
Thanks, Chief.
We're going to...
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you, PDR Nation. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Mr. Paget, for having me. And today we're talking about high-level sales. And this is essentially what we're going to go over is how are we closing, a lot of questions I get, how do we close those deals at such high price levels? Some of you may know that I've offered the community of PDR guys my pricing guide, which has kind of evolved over time. How many of you guys are aware of that? Anybody? How many of you guys are implementing it? Okay, cool. Very good. So the plan for this presentation is essentially what I want to do is I want to go through the slide presentation, and we'll hold the questions till the end because I know there's probably going to be a lot of questions on different points. But I think it'll be quicker and make more sense and give you guys the opportunity for us to interact and for you to ask questions if we just hit the slides, kind of go over the presentation, and then we'll do the questions at the end. Is that okay with you guys? If there's absolutely something that's unclear that you need clarity on, stop me and let's go over that in a moment. But if you have a question pertaining to estimating, pricing, or what we can even cover, I think we were going to cover a little bit of large stamp repair too, maybe?
Yeah, how to go about it.
Okay.
Not fixing, I mean, how to go about selling.
Sure. So here's the start. Let's go. Can we go to slide one, Gene? So first step for me with selling at a high level, okay? First thing is going to be customer care, always, customer care. What I mean by that is our business, every business is about people. We are in the people business. How many of you guys believe that? Raise your hand. Right, so we're in the people business. And in order to get the prices that we want on this, we've got to first care about the people. And therefore, this slide is called customer care. It's all about the people. It's a people business. We're creating an experience for our customers. And basically, what is an experience? An experience is what this customer is sensing, okay? And what they're hearing, what they're seeing, even down to sometimes what they're smelling in your shop. Right? You guys have been to a shop where you're like, what the heck is going on here? This dude's smoking weed in the back, there's some mom and peeing in the corner, you know what I mean? It's all of those things are equal and experience for that customer. That's why, you go into an Apple store and everything's really clean and sleek and neat, and they go with primary color whites and very simplistic design because it's appealing to their customer base. So those of you who are at a high level of PDR or who are selling retail, you know that your retail clients typically come in, our best clients are type A personalities, right? Pretty clean cut, nicely dressed, they're probably driving a pretty nice car that's fairly new, and they want to keep it nice, that's why they're there, right? So are we reflecting that back to our customers? Are they having that experience that they would expect to get from another service or from a company that sells a product that they would want to buy, right? So it comes down to everything, the way we dress, our body posture, our eye contact, so on and so forth. Some of the notes that we have under the senses and what they're experiencing would be their environment. How does it feel when they walk in your shop? Are they greeted? Do they feel comfortable? What is the setting like? Do you have a dump of a shop, or do you guys keep a neat shop? Think about those things because all of those things will add in or detract from the experience that your customer is having. And obviously the idea would be make them comfortable and make them want to do business with you. When you give them hit them with that $1,500 estimate on that crush in a door, you want them to be able, I apologize. When you hit them with that large number for crushing a door, sorry guys, I'm going to have to check myself on that once in a while. Then you're going to want to give them reasons why they want to buy that from you. You guys with me? Does that make sense? Okay.
So Paul's speaking there as a retail shop, just the way that spins as a mobile guy. We're out. We want the car clean. We want to be clean cut, not nice and clean. I don't want stains all over my clothes. I like to wear a polo with my name embroidered on some stuff. It's that professional image. When I get out of the car, hi, Mr. Customer, how are you? Not rolling up in my pickup and throwing the tools out of a gun case and smoking a cigarette wearing flip-flops, right? Like, we're high-level sales and professional. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'm standing here in a t-shirt, untucked, with my hands in my jeans, right? That's not how I look in the shop, okay? Typically, I'm trying to wear a pair of like Nike golf pants with a polo tucked in, right? I will wear a hat, some guys don't like that. I will wear facial hair, some people don't like that and they think that there's a better way. I'm neither here nor there on some of that stuff, but hey, be you, but remember that you're selling to a customer, you're trying to present yourself to a customer. So think about all those little things. One quick little nuance thing that I do, right? So when a customer's in the shop and you're like this, what kind of message are you sending them to? Throw it out there. Anybody?
Not interested.
Yeah.
Out of here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm here. You're here. Let's get this thing done, right? All right. But if you're standing like this, you guys have cop buddies here. If you're standing like this, what kind of message are you sending to them? I'm in control. You know what I mean? This is my shop, right? Which is not, in my opinion, the right message you want to send to a customer. You're trying to do an interaction or get a sell to. So for me, I don't like standing like this either because now I'm closed off, right? All right, what are you doing here? What do you want? You know. So for me, I do the cop thing. My cop buddies stand like this. They keep their hands out of their pockets because they want to be able to reach their gun or interact with, you know, a perpetrator if they need to in a moment's notice, right? I'll do this because it's really non-threatening, right? You're chill. You're just, hey, how you doing? How can I serve you? And honestly, at the end of the day, guys, that's what we're there to do. We're there to serve. We're there to serve that customer, so much so through the interaction from the initial contact, through the estimating process, and into the final closing sale, that they will want to do business with us not only now, but into the future, right? Because they can easily go down the street and get probably a cheaper estimate and get served as well, if not better, from our competition. So we've got these are those little fine-tuned, low percentage things that we need to do to kind of tweak our whole pitch, our whole sales process in order to gain those high-level sales. Going on to greeting our customers. So in our shop, customer will come in. Sometimes my front office guy will greet them. Eventually, I will have to come out to either qualify that his estimate was correct, that he marked the damage out correctly, and we'll get to that part. And so I'll have to interact with the customer. The first thing I'm doing is I'm walking up to the customer. Hey, how you doing? Looking them right in the face, getting eye contact, and I'm keeping my eyes on their eyes long enough for me to recognize that they recognize me looking into their eyes, right? And why is that important? Well, I'll tell you why it's important. In a book that I read recently by a guy named Sean Acor, called The Happiness Advantage, it's pretty much about positive psychology and how it affects our sales, right? And this stuff is now down to a science. It's not just a theory, it's a science. He says that neuroscience has actually proven that when you make eye contact with a person, it sends a signal to their brain that tells them that you feel empathy for them and it automatically builds rapport with them. Okay, so let me give you quickly definition of empathy would be the ability to feel what they're feeling, right? And we've all had customers that come in and they're emotionally distraught over their dent. Does that make sense? You guys agree with that? And for us to be able to sense and to feel what they're feeling through this process, how difficult this is for them, is hugely important to them. They want to know that you care about them because ultimately they're a person, right? And we're in the people business, right? We happen to be connected with people through dents and through cars, but we're in the people business. So as soon as they feel that you feel their pain, they begin to trust you a little bit more. You know, they feel like you know them. So you're learning them, they can trust you a little bit more. And then that eye contact also builds rapport. And what rapport is, essentially, is your ability to to be trusted by them because you've shown them that you care. You've shown them that to you, they are a person, not just a number. They're a person, they're not just a dollar. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? And honestly, guys, some of this stuff is really simple, but it's hard stuff to put into practice, even for me sometimes. Because we all get busy in our shops. We all have 5 things going on, and our phone's ringing in our pocket, and it's hard to concentrate. But I'm telling you, these few little steps, especially at the very beginning of your interaction, is going to set the tone for the rest of the experience that your customer has. Right? Make sense? Okay. So let's go, Gene. Let me see. Did I catch? Go back one slide. I'm sorry. Go back. We got greeting. Okay, so under greeting, basically the golden rule. Okay, treat other people the way you want to be treated. Handshake, smile, eye contact is huge. Next slide. Awesome. All right, so communication. Communication is made up of a couple of different things, right? I'll try to get these really quick. Tone, voice, diction, imagery, and obviously courtesy because they're people. We're communicating to people, right? So what is tone? Let me give you some definitions. Tone is the attitude towards the recipient of the message, right? And we all understand what that means when I say, hey, how you doing? Welcome to Dent Masters. I'm Paul, right? What's my tone just say to that customer? Whatever, I don't care. But when I go, hey, good morning, my name is Paul Kordon, I'm from Dent Masters, thank you for coming here, or whatever your stick might be, there's a total different person that they're hearing, and that tone makes a huge difference. And again, we're also setting the tone for the rest of the experience. You with me?
Real quick, as a mobile there, so if Paul gets people walking into a shop and he has the advantage of that hand or that eye-to-eye contact, as a mobile guy, our first interaction is that phone call. Is the best tip I can give you. Before you answer the phone, smile. They'll hear it in your voice. Dent repair now, this is Gene. Dent repair now, this is Gene. It sets that tone immediately like that. So just a quick tip, back to Paul.
Yeah, I'll tell you, let me add one other quick thing. And again, we're getting into kind of like really detailed, granular stuff here, but it's interesting to me. What I find that helps me is not only smile, but dude, lift your eyebrows. You know why? Because when you go like this, you feel a little bit lighter, a little bit better. And it's going to make a difference in the way that you sound. Am I right? You guys, does that make sense? Okay, so going on to voice. Voice is essentially how personality is reflected, okay? The way that I voice what I'm saying is expressing to you a little bit about who I am. Does that make sense? My personality, right? That's important because we're dealing with people. Next would be diction. Diction is the words that we choose. Sounds stupid, but it's important, okay? Grammar matters. The words that we choose matter because you can essentially steer the customer's experience, steer the customer's knowledge. By the way, we're educating as we're estimating. That's always a truth. By the words that we choose. We also can either make our jobs more difficult or easier based upon the specific words that we choose as we estimate, as we interact with that customer, as we educate them, explain to them what our process is, what's going to happen to their car, how long it might take, and how much it might cost, right? All of those words are going to matter. And then imagery is the picture that we are creating with our words. So when we use terms, when we're describing what we do compared to maybe an alternative option, right? Which all of us know would be maybe a conventional repair, a body shop, a repaint, a replacement on a part. Thinking about the types of words we use to describe that picture. What picture are we trying to create for these people? That we have the solution, right? That our repair is better and more valuable in the long run than any other solution. So we want to create an image that not only do we have the solution for them and do we have the answer to their problem because they're a person who's in here with an emotional problem because they have dent on their car. That's really, truly. So what are we doing to create the image about what solution that we offer versus the alternative? And I don't want you guys to demonize a body shop. That's what I don't want you to do because body shops are our customers, they're our friends, and they're there for a good reason. But there's a way for you through your words, through the word choices that you use, to explain to them that that is not in their best interest and that we are. Is that making sense? Right? So I'll say something like, listen, your alternative, Mr. Customer, is if you take it to a body shop, they're going to most likely, in a repair situation, they're going to grind the paint off of the panel, they're going to maybe push the metal out, pull it with a stud welder, they're going to sand it down again, fill it with Bondo, and then repaint your fender and possibly blend it into adjacent panels. Right? Not negative, we're not demonizing the body shop when we say that, but painting the picture of all that really happens in that process it starts to make them nervous. They're like, oh, I won't pick a fender. I don't want Bondo in my car. You know what I mean? And we've heard it all before. But by creating the image for them of what the alternative is, and for me, I'll say, listen, my shop will quote you 3 to 5 day repair minimum, right? Anybody hear any less than that? Anybody sending customers to a body shop and returning it in a day? No way. Not possible. But our repairs most likely would happen in minutes to hours or even a day or two at most, right? And that's a huge advantage. So we're creating the image that we are the solution. Not only are we the solution, but we're the better, faster, and I never say cheaper solution, if you know me. So, what's that?
Preach it.
Yeah, right? Let's go to, okay, responsibility. This is a little play on words. I know it's not spelled correctly. Your responsibility is your ability to respond to your customer, to your situation. Sometimes in the moment, sometimes you can have those responses prepared in your mind, right? You've gone through the scenario with your customer, you kind of know where you want to lead them, and so you lead them with certain questions, you lead them down certain paths as you're estimating, as you're educating them. Kind words, some things that I put in there, kind words, turn away anger. If you have a grumpy customer, basically I try to kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness. Turn them into a neutral at best customer. And there are times when somebody who's just, they're really grumpy, they're pissed off, they're having a bad day, whatever the case may be, you can turn them into a happy customer just in your interaction during the estimate process. I've seen it happen, I know it's possible. I don't like it because really what I just want to do is be like, whatever dude, get out of my shop, you know? There's happy customers that come in the door right behind you. But the reality is they are a person, and if we truly believe that this is a people business and we care about people first and more than we care about their money, then let's kill them with kindness. Let's take a kind word and respond to their anger with that or their grumpiness with that. Respond intentionally, be prepared. Basically what I mean by that is we all know kind of where the conversation can go, where it's going to go. We know what the frequently asked questions are. Head them off at the pass. Let's give them as much information and education up front that answers those questions in their mind so that they don't even have to ask. And a lot of times, I'll find personally with retail clients that if I'm able to express and to educate them on the process, all the things that they can expect, the cost, even what the alternative is, then I've given them so much information that they don't even know what question to ask. They're like, holy cow, you just flooded me with so much information. I feel comfortable with you because you know what you're talking about. I trust you. Just fix my car. Let me know when it's ready, right? So that happens quite a bit. As a matter of fact, that's a tactic that I know that they use at high level and with big companies at a high level because what they want to do is they want to implement something without getting a lot of pushback from the employees, right? So and I know this from a friend of mine is a ex-executive with mobile, and what he would do is he would explain to mobile employees that, hey guys, here's what we're doing. Here's the new campaign, right? They know they're going to get pushback. They know not everybody's going to like the new campaign. They're not going to like the new changes. They're not going to like the new protocol, and so they will get pushback and questions. But what they do instead is not only do they tell you what the new protocol is going to be, but they rah it up like it's the best thing ever that we've ever thought of, right? By the time he's done with his spiel, nobody has a question. They're all like, yeah, sign me up, let's go, you know? I know my workload is going to be more, but let's go. I'm on the train, you know? So, and it works. It really does work in a retail setting. When they've gotten so much information from you that there's no question left that they have, they're ready to do business, right? As long as you guys agreed on a price and a time frame, they're ready to go. Frequently asked questions, the last thing on there, that's just, you know the answers to the questions that are going to come up. They're going to ask you how you're different from a body shop. They're going to ask you, I get a lot of questions about Carfax. Will this affect me on my vehicle history report? Have those answers prepared and have them prepared in a very educated response, okay? You want them to know that you were the professional, you know your job, and you were the last person they need to come see because you got the solution to their problem. Make sense? Everybody with me? Okay? Am I speaking too fast?
Can you answer that? Go ahead.
What's that?
Carfax, go ahead.
Okay, so my response to a question about Carfax is, I'll word it this way, and this is where word choice is a big one. Let me think of how I word it. I do it so robotically that I have to think. They'll ask me, hey, how does this affect my Carfax? Well, we can help you avoid a Carfax, Mr. Customer, because what we do keeps all of your original manufacturer's paint and parts on the car, and therefore there is no diminished value to your vehicle when we are done. If anything, we are restoring the original value back to your vehicle, and I will educate them sometimes, and I'll say, not all body shops report to Carfax because that's the truth. However, if you decide to make an insurance claim on your car, it's possible that your insurance company will report that claim to Carfax. Here's what I know about Carfax, and I've had 3 conversations with headquarters. They're 2 cities over from where I live. Carfax doesn't really know what to do with PDR, right? They like it. Well, they don't like it because there's less reporting on the vehicles. But if there was a report about a PDR on a vehicle history report, you know what it says? The left front fender had PDR done. And that's what the guy told me on the phone. And I went, what, that's it? That's it. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. It means nothing. There's no diminished value. There's nothing that's been repainted. There's nothing that's been replaced. So what does that mean? It means nothing. Now, until Carfax decides to make it mean something, right, it doesn't mean anything. And here's where I believe that Carfax has done us a favor. Carfax has spent millions and millions of dollars marketing their service, right? How many of you guys were in the business before Carfax was around? Yep. And then when Carfax came around, it was like, what the heck is this? Where did it come from? And then you started seeing those huge blow-up foxes on the dealers. Remember that? Which I think is the worst marketing campaign ever, by the way. I don't get it. Our fox, but so are we doing on time? We're good. Okay. So it really means nothing. But what they've done for us as a favor to the PDR industry, in my opinion, is they have made themselves important to our customer base, right? So we didn't have to do a thing. It's not, we didn't create Carfax. It's there. They made it so that it meant something to the customer. And so now what they did was they planted a seed of doubt in the customer's mind, right? So now the customer goes, oh, I don't want a vehicle history report on my car. And at least that's the response that I get. And I go, yes. Well, guess what? There's only one solution that's going to help you with that. Let's pay this down here, right? And my comment to the customer is, I live in a world where I try to keep you from repainting or replacing the parts on your car because the original value will stay on your vehicle. And I'll encourage customers. I'll go, I would rather see dents and scratches on your vehicle if I go to buy it from you as a private buyer than to know that something's been painted. Is that the truth for all of us? Yeah. Because we're in the car business, we understand that, right? So that is the truth. I'm sorry, but that is the reality. Any car manager, dealership manager, would rather see dents and scratches on a vehicle that is taking in on trade than to know that the panel's been painted, right? Can I get an amen? Amen. Yeah, they don't want to buy a painted car because now, guess what? That seed of doubt is in their mind. What happened to the car? Was there frame damage? Did they replace parts? Was there anything mechanical that happened? So Carfax has done us a huge service by planting seeds of doubt in our customers' minds. And ours is the only solution that can remove that seed of doubt for them, right? Boom. Done. All right, next slide. Hey, sorry, let me keep track of it here just in case. Next slide, know your worth. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir with a lot of you on this, but know your worth. You are the professional. I've heard Tom Price say this in his Hail seminar. If you haven't been to that, you have to go see Tom Price talk about Hail estimating. He's very smart when it comes to that, and he has a lot of good information. You are the professional. He says it this way, be the expert, right? You are the professional. It's your job to know not only your business, but the other businesses in the industries that affect your business, right? What do I mean by that? So here's what I mean. The guys who are at a high level of PDR, there's not a lot that we can gain from within the PDR industry to help us get to the next level, right? And hopefully, if you want to get better, you're going to want to be evaluated and you're going to want to grow. You're going to want to know where you need to get stronger, and then you want to know what your strengths are so you can continue to pound on those. So for me personally, I like getting involved in the body shop industry, the insurance industry. I want to know more about Carfax. I want to understand more about iCar and its effect on the body world. I want to understand what ASA has to do with and how influential it is within the body world, body shop community, right? So not only be the professional in the PDR industry, but guess what? Arm yourself with the knowledge that you can, as much as you can, of the adjacent industries to the PDR industry, right? Because we have to understand how to talk to an adjuster. We have to understand what the keywords, those buzzwords are that connect with them. We have to know that with an insurance company or with a body shop, the word cycle time means everything to them. Does that make sense? How many of you guys have body shops that you service that they said cycle time the first time, you're like, okay, but that means something to them. That's the language that they speak. They don't care about how much the dent costs. They really don't care about how much they pay you. They care, are you servicing them with speed, accuracy, and consistency, right? And do you understand their need? Because our job is to service our customers. They're people. If you help them get what they want, they're going to help you get what you want ultimately. Does that make sense? So be professional, know your job, know your industry, tour guide mentality. What I mean by that, these are bullet points and they have explanations on the next slide. I just realized. My bad. Hold on, guys. So
next one.
No, leave it there. So you're the professional, tour guide mentality, documentation is justification, salvation. Let's go through this. You're the professional. We're a niche industry. These are my bullet points. Few people know this position better. Let me see. Few people know this position and fewer know it well. Many consumers, and I'm talking about PDR guys there, many consumers don't even know what PDR means. Edge-estimation is my play on that word. We're educating and we're estimating at the same time. It's absolutely a must on every one. Know your business, it's your job. Under-promise and over-deliver every time. So those are just some bullets on basically being the professional, okay? Next bullet point was tour guide mentality. Here's what I mean by that. With our customers, whether you're dealing, I don't care who the customer is, whether it's an individual retail customer, or whether it's a body shop that you're going into for the first time, or maybe a new body shop manager, or maybe a new adjuster, or it's an insurance adjuster you've never met before, or it's a service lane, or it's a dealership, or it's whoever the customer is, you are always being of the mindset that you are a tour guide. They have never been there before. You're the professional, you've been there, so lead them there, right? We're taking them on a tour of what it's like to deal with a professional paintless dent removal technician or company. You are you create the reputation that you want. So be a professional, treat them like they're valuable, like they're people, and take them on a tour of what it's like to experience a professional PDR organization, professional PDR company, or professional PDR technician, and show them, even in your work. So under that tour guide mentality, we have bullet points. You can't lead where you haven't been. Make sure you know your job. Again, go back to know your industry. Customers are genuinely ignorant about PDR. How many customers do you have come in your shops that have never had it done before? On a daily basis, right? It's not as common as we think. We're into it. We're nerds to this stuff. It's not as common out there in the general public as we think. And what have we been? The industry's been around for what, like 40 years now? So, I mean, we're still a fairly young industry, and look how far we've come. That's pretty cool. Walk them through every step. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Explain the alternatives. We covered that in when we talked about not demonizing the body shops, but explaining them what the alternative process is. And then obviously, again, under-promise and over-deliver. You'll see that come up a few times here. Next slide. Documentation is justification of salvation. Here's what I mean by that. And we'll go into the steps of an estimate here in just a second, as far as retail is concerned. Excuse me. So the reason documentation is important is what a customer can see, they can justify spending money on. Do you agree? Okay? If you tell a customer that dent is not 1 inch, sir, it's 4 inches, but they can't see it and you haven't shown them that, you haven't exactly built confidence in them, correct? They may feel more like you're taking them for a ride, correct? We've all dealt with customers like that. However, if you have done your job right in estimating and taking them through that process as a tour guide, you can show them exactly what you mean by this is not a 1 inch dent, this is a 4 inch dent. And this is where things like the price guide have become very valuable. So again, that leads to documenting it to them so that it justifies in their mind. And honestly, at the end, we've all been there before where we've had an insurance claim and somebody comes back and goes, well, do you have any pictures of that? Well, yes, because we documented it, right? Okay, so, and we'll get back to the nitty-gritty of that stuff in just a minute. Use all your tools to document and to justify. We'll go over what those tools are in just a minute. Use your technology, that's self-explanatory. We'll go over my personal opinion as far as a list of that in just a second. Get creative, pretty clear. Be thorough, clear enough. What is documented can be justified and will ultimately save you. I 100% believe that. And please under-promise and over-deliver on all of your estimates. Make sense? Okay, so next slide. I need to make sure that I'm on the same page here with you. Okay, yep, writing high-level estimate. Here we go. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of that stuff right now. In my opinion, inside is always best. You guys probably know that. Tom Price has a great video online that shows an adjuster's estimate on a hail car, a white car. He brings it inside, writes up 3 times the amount of hail dents, right? That they genuinely could not see outside. We all know that. We've been there. That's nothing new to most of us. Inside is best. Use a professional PDR light, please, please, please. Why does it say height? I typoed that. Dang it. So it should say PDR light. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
No, use a professional PDR light, please. It's very difficult to see dents without it. And clean your damaged areas. Stop doing estimates on cars that have salt and dirt down the side. Okay? That's a no-brainer. Next. I know none of you do that, though, so thank you for being here.
I do want to speak here for 1 second. Paul has the luxury of a shop.
Yes.
This big lights out and everything like that.
True.
Again, as a mobile tech, I might be at somebody's workplace, outside, on the sunny side, and I can't turn the car around for whatever reason. If you don't have a light, what I've done on my price guide is I made a high-vis black and yellow line board. I can make little old ladies see how the line bends when I show them that their 1-inch dent here is a 4-inch dent here. They see it every time. This is a tool, as a mobile tech, you can't always use that light. So,
Correct. And if they can see it, they can justify it.
That's exactly
And that's
right.
what you're trying to do with
That's
the light
exactly
on
right.
board. That's what I'm trying to do with PDR lights, estimating inside, right? Inside is best, use professional PDR light, clean the damaged area, pretty self-explanatory. Pricing guide, use the pricing guide, okay? Mark out the damage. Here's why. I use a Crayola window crayon. Go buy them. They're like $4, $3 at Walmart, and they work great. They clean off. I did testing on a bunch of them. They're the ones that leave the least amount of etching. You may have a problem on a repaint. You may have a problem on certain, unique situations. But for the most part, you can leave them in the sun and you can still wipe them off and they'll go away. Use a pricing guide. Mark out the damage. Why are we marking out the damage? Because we want the customer to see the damage, okay? It's a lot easier for a customer to see wax pen marks on a car door than to see the dent in your light. I've shown a customer a dent in my light, and they go, oh yeah, I see it, but they still don't know what they're looking at. Come on, let's be honest. Half of us don't know what we're looking at still when it comes to dent. We have to relearn every couple of days, So you're marking the damage out because showing them in a light is one thing, showing the marks where the edges of the dents are and being able to measure it with the price guide in front of them is a totally different story.
So on the price guide, so I use my line board, like I said, I mark it, here's the top and bottom. I've got a 2-scale ruler on the price guide. So I go up and I'm like, Mr. Customer, it's 4 inches. It's my tool, it's all right here. I also like to use a magnetic ruler. This is great, I'll take it and I'll lay it right on the car. And they're not gonna argue with this, right? It's not, they might argue with this, they never argue with this.
Just make sure your inch marks aren't that wide. Then it gets a little suspicious. Yeah, you know who you are. No, okay, so pricing guide. Use a pricing guide in front of them. Also, what I like to do, I'm sorry, yes sir.
Also too, with the iPhone, you use topographical grid on your images to actually take a picture. When you can't see it, it actually shows up anyway.
So on what the topographical what?
Topographical grid on the photographs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, true. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, what?
He uses the topographical
Grid.
grid on his iPhone to take the picture. Does the grid show up in the picture?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, it does. Okay, I didn't know that.
To scale?
Well, I guess to kind of show an idea for
Topography.
topography.
Yeah.
Okay. You may need to expand on that.
Yeah, we'll see you outside for the class.
That'll be next year's. Okay, so after I've marked the car and I've measured everything with the pricing guide, and I'm measuring the damage, I'm marking out the damage, measuring the damage, I'm showing that to the customer. Sometimes at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to either take a quick video snippet of all of that. Sometimes I got to get a guy to hold measuring the pricing guide in the picture. Sometimes I'll just snap the photo with the guide in the picture. I've documented it. Okay, it takes 2 seconds to do, and it gives you a little bit of fail-safe in the event that you have to go back later and help the customer remember what you've already gone over. Okay? Justification is salvation. I'm sorry, documentation is justification, is salvation. You're saving yourself from having to deal with that headache later on by documenting it in a picture. You all carry a cell phone, it has a camera on it, take a stinking picture. You know what I mean? Email it to yourself if you don't want the picture on your phone. Next slide is, let me see here.
Window wedge and flashlight.
Yeah, take your picture.
You just did that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, window edge. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, take your pictures, take your video. Use a window edge. Here's why I say that. When we're doing door dings, when we're doing anything on a door, it takes 3 seconds to wedge the window, take a flashlight, and look down inside the door. Because guess what? 100% of the time, your guys' motor skills and your depth perception is so good that you can put your finger on the dent, and you can look down the door, and you can see where the crash bar is. Well, if you look at my price guide, whenever there's something obstructed, like obstructing the damage, like a crash bar, that's going to give you a markup. Okay? Does that make sense? You just gave yourself a raise. All you did was stick a wedge in the window, take a flashlight, put your finger on the dent, and find out if there's a crash bar covering it. Make sense? Okay. Teeny little things that we can do to help us gain that highest price. Using the flashlight, sometimes I do have an endoscopic camera. I'll stick that camera down inside the door. I want to see everything that's going on inside the door. And sometimes I'll tilt the screen towards the customer and I'll go, oh yeah, look what we got here. or sometimes they want to look down the door with me. I'm fine with that. See, Mr. Customer, I'm legitimately telling you that this is here, and it is. Flashlight, endoscopic camera, depth gauge. I know Black Plague sells one. That also is a factor or an adder on the price guide. So if a dent is over a certain depth, you can get more money for it. Using a paint meter to protect yourself, again, you're documenting, okay, and you're justifying why you may need more money because working a repaint is more risky, especially in a glue pull situation, and it will save you in the end. We knew, Mr. Customer, that this paint was a repaint at the time that you brought the car in, okay? So that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's go to the next slide. You already there? All right, include every factor. If you look at a price guide, if you don't have one, ask somebody who you know, or get on somewhere. We'll find.
Just get a hold of Paul.
Yeah, get a hold of me, and I'll send you the ones that we use.
I'm going to give you just a quick explanation of how Paul came up with the price guide. I don't know that he explained it this way, but somebody did, and it really clicked for me. If you've got a 1-inch dent in an open area that's easily accessible, it doesn't get any easier than that for us, right? That's as easy as it gets. Everything that makes it harder, if it's bigger, we're increasing what we charge the customer. If it's behind a brace, on a body line with a sound deadener, harder, 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 right? If we need to take this apart, it's more work. It's so simple, it's genius. It's just, what makes it harder? That's why we walk right through the guide.
Well, let me say it this way too. There's a reason why, as I said, I like to learn from other industries that we are connected with. Okay, there's a reason why there are book times for every single procedure and process in a body shop. Correct? You guys know that, right? Because the more work that body shop has to do, the more they want to get paid, right? Why is that not true for us? Why haven't we given our work away? Why have we given so much money off? I don't understand that. You know, I've done it myself. Okay, I'm part of the problem. I've been part of the problem in the past. I don't, not anymore. I believe that you guys are worth that, and so let's document every single step that we have to take, everything that makes our jobs harder, so that we can justifiably get the money that we deserve on that repair. Okay, we're not asking for anything for free. We're not lying, cheating, or stealing. Okay, I believe in honesty, integrity, and character in everything that you do, and treating people the way they ought to be treated, and that's how I would want to be treated. Honestly, as a consumer, I don't want anything for free. I want to buy a product that you're going to stand behind, or a service that you're going to stand behind, and I'm willing to pay good money for it, and so are your customers. Okay? Make sense? Nothing in life is free. There's no such thing as a discount, in my opinion. If there is, it makes me skeptical. Does that make sense? I'd rather pay you good money for good service and have you back it. Simple as that. And I think our customers think the same way. Makes sense?
20 minutes left.
20 minutes. Okay, so let's crush this and we'll go to questions. Where were we? Include every factor and variable. Look for everything you can. On the back of my price guide, I talk about body lines, contours, double metal, high strength steel, glue pulling. There's some things I'm adding. Exotic finishes. Matte finish cars take longer to work. They're a pain in the butt. You should get paid more for that. Aluminum panels, clear bra, ceramic coating. Any other factor or variable that you want to add to that makes your job harder, get paid more money for it. Simple as that, right? Simple concept. Let's see here. Look for additional damage. That's self-explanatory. Consider all R&I, especially if you're in a retail situation where you can charge properly for R&I. If it makes your life easier to take the tire and liner off, charge them to take the tire and liner off. You can give it away if you want to, but I would at least recommend to you that you price anchor it with the full retail price in mind, the full R&I price in mind, so that when later you say, Mr. Customer, I know it's only 2 bolts to pull your tail light out. I'm not going to charge you $30 for that. I'm going to give that to you, and then you're the hero, right? Okay. Next slide, I believe, starts with document everything, self-explanatory, include the details. I love this. I'll write out not only the measurement, the marks for the size of the damage, I'll write out the measurement above it in a wax pencil. I'll write out my little like abbreviations. GP for glue pull, HS for high strength steel. I'll write OB for obstruction, whatever that may be. You're writing it out in pen on the panel so that you can take a picture of it, and all of it's documented, all of it's justified. I like all those details, and so do most of your body shops and insurance guys, by the way. Okay, it takes the doubt out of their mind, and they're going, if he's willing to justify it in a document, then I trust him. We'll give you what you need. I get it. You've proved it to me, right? What they can see, they can justify. Present an itemized estimate. Here's what I mean by that, okay? So, and I've had to learn on this. I'm shifting. I've just shifted my process. I used to write up basically the price of the cost of the metal repair and the cost of the factors and as one number, okay? Or sometimes I would even include, let's say we have to do a wet sand and buff on a scratch. I would include that, or R9. I would include that in one big number. Your customer doesn't like seeing one big number. It's hard for them to swallow, in my opinion, okay? You guys may differ, and that's okay. We can do it any way you want to, but I think if you itemize it, okay, so let's say we have a dent repair is X amount of dollars, but there's also a double metal charge. That equals X dollars here. And there's also a markup for a body line. That's X dollars here. And then there's a wet sand and buff at these dollars and a R&I at these dollars. It's easier for them to justify it seeing a bunch of smaller, to use that term loosely, smaller charges than for you to go $1967.50 and that's your total price. No, but that's hard. But if you break it down into your dent is, I'm sorry, I used a number. But your dent repair is less than that. How did you do this without using numbers?
You guys get the picture?
You get the picture, right? You get the point? Okay, show on your estimate an itemized list of smaller costs, don't slap it in the face with one big number. Because that's like, they squeal at that, they cringe at it. Document everything, include the details, present an itemized estimate. Next slide. Do we have any more? That's it. That is it. So care about your customer, know your worth, you're the pro, take them on a tour, document and justify. Questions?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've got a question for each of you.
Yep.
Number one, I love all these itemize and get that money higher.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, do you, in your mind, think, here's how high I can go and go up to that, or do you just let it fly? I mean, you obviously, you're in a spot where you're busy, you got a lot of customers. I've done health for 20 years. I'm looking at starting to do some local big dance because they're paying good.
Sure.
So what if you were starting, you didn't have all the business in the world? I mean, back in the day, I was telling him earlier, back in the day, I remember when you used to price sale cars, you just looked at it and set a price. And, well, here's how much I think they'll pay. And
I can't tell you how many arbitrary numbers I've thrown at a customer. We've all done it. Nobody ever had a guy who taught you at a price.
so you just add everything all the time.
I'm sorry?
You just add everything all the
So
time.
here's what I
Even though it's
believe.
getting
That's a
higher.
great question. Here's what I personally believe. I believe you go in high and hot every single time because it's easier to go low than it is to go high, right? Because if you go high and then you give something, I don't discount, I give it to them, you're the hero. You're setting yourself up for success. You're under-promising. You're saying, Mr. Customer, the chart, the price guide is the bad guy. It says this. But I know in my head, I might be able to do, it might say a high number. I can do it for X percent less than that and still be happy, right? Remember this, it's a guide, it's not the law.
Right, this is just a tool.
It's a
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool.
Use it as a guide.
And real quick for you, because you're mobile, so somebody calls you, I know you probably have them text you a photo, right? If
Right,
they're 30
so-
minutes away, what's the next step? How do you
So
keep
what I
wasting your
will
time?
tell you, if you're going to operate mobily, we need to protect our time, right? I only have so many hours in the day, and I can't just say, go on down to my shop.
Right.
This is where, and I would recommend, Keith from PDR College has a phone skills course. If you're serious about doing this mobile retail, really, if you're serious about sales, you need to listen to it. If you're serious about doing it mobile, you have to have a solid phone game. What I mean by that is you call me and you tell me, hey, I've got a little dent. Define little, right? Is the whole bedside cave dent? Or is it actually like a pinky dent? I need to qualify all of that. I try to get a photo before I drive out. I qualify everything because I don't want to drive. I do an hour circle, so that's, I can do an hour to here through to an hour here, so it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste 3 or 4 hours of a day driving to look at something that isn't qualified. So work on your phone game, use the technology to get the stuff in.
Try to qualify the customer on the phone as much as you can because time is money.
Okay, great.
So do you not recommend, if you know a condition repair would be a couple grand, to go in there and use that as a selling point to charge them $1,800 on a PDR repair?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. One of the things I didn't say that I should is that we here when you're quoting high PDR prices, okay, you start, whether you know it or not, you start anchoring your price against the alternative, which is a full conventional repair, okay?
Which is where you need to educate yourself
Yes,
on what it takes to conventionally repair a car.
correct.
Yes.
Which is why you should not only know your PDR business, but know the adjacent businesses that are around you, right? Because ultimately that, believe it or not, I fully believe that every customer that walks into my retail shop is thinking in their mind, what is this going to cost me versus a body shop? And we all know where the prices, generally speaking, are in a body shop. And they're pretty high compared to what we've been charging. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be at that, in my opinion. It's going to be a big ship to turn, right? We're all starting here together. But there's no reason why our work is less valuable than what they do. Okay? I fully believe that in my heart. And I'd like to see the day when PDR gets more than conventional repair because of the value that it brings to the table. You
I
understand?
saw a question back here.
Where, you mentioned this earlier, where is that price list that you developed?
So Paul developed it. If you reach out to Paul, he has some files that he can send you.
Sure, yeah. Just look me up on Facebook, look me up, and wherever you are on social media, I'm out there. Look up Paul Kordon, and then shoot me a message, and we'll figure out how to get you connected. I know PDR College has, I think, a link to
PDR
some.
College does have something.
They have a link to a guy who can design it with your logo and all that stuff for a small fee, and then you can do what you want. I will tell you this: that's an evolving thing. Okay, we're constantly adding new factors as we come across them, and we go, oh. Why don't we think of that? Matte finish. Of course we need to make more money on matte finish. I just don't have it printed on a guide. You know what I mean?
Let's go back middle here.
Obviously, I know all of your skills, you're an awesome guy. We have for the guys who want to take on the big stuff, can't glass it, but the price is going to be above the customer. How do you sell that to the customer? If it's a 95% repair, 90% repair.
Under promise, over deliver.
And
So
that
qualify your customer first. Well, are they looking for perfection? If they say, no, I'll take an improvement, you're working. You're making money.
Well, you see all
And
this,
under
you guys
promise.
are scared to cross that $500 mark.
Why?
Well, because they think they can get it.
Why?
Because of the ball.
That's head trash.
Right.
That's a mental hump they have to get over.
Explain to your customer, you're not having to turn it into insurance either. That's a big thing.
Of course. Well, and let me tell you this. How many of you guys have ever told a customer, we can save, we'll be cheaper than a body shop? Let me ask that question first. How many of you have ever sold it that way? And then how many of you have ever sold, shame on you, by the way. How many of you have ever sold?
You didn't raise it.
I have, yes. How many of you have ever sold?
You can sell that way because they don't
Of course you
know.
can.
Like I said, I'm usually half to a third of what a body shop will charge them. They don't know what it is.
Right.
Then when my number
Of
comes
course.
out, they're thinking, man,
Of course you can, but what we've done is we've devalued our service. We've devalued our service.
Yeah,
because
right.
we now are cheaper than a body shop because we're not as valuable as a body shop. Okay?
So here's how I
So,
pitch that. When
again,
a customer,
words are important, man.
when a customer says to me, wow, I thought you were going to be cheaper than a body shop. Actually, a lot of times we are less expensive, play on words, than a body shop for your smaller damage. When we get into this bigger damage, we're oftentimes the same or more than a body shop, but here's why. Cycle time. We're going to have we don't say cycle time, that's our words. I'll say the body shop's going to have your car for 3, 4, 5 days. We're going to do this in a day. Well, that's great. We're going to keep your factory paint. We're not going to have a car fast. I don't educate. It's the edustimation.
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 Stupid word.
But that's what it is. You have to educate the customer. And I agree with. I don't tell them they're wrong that we're not cheaper than a body shop. I explain to them why we may cost more. But it's a tour guide mentality.
Well, and one of the things I've discovered about the guy, I'll get you in a second, man, I see you. One of the things I've discovered about the price guide is that what's great about it is on the small stuff, the body shop prices can't touch us. On the middle size stuff, I will tell my customer, we come in close to or at the cost of conventional repair. On the larger stuff, we're coming in at or over conventional. And we want that, because those of us who can fix the big stuff know how long it takes, how much education, information, and how many years it's taken to hone our skills to get there. So I want the max amount of money, and essentially I said it as a joke, but really what we're doing is we're pricing it like we don't want it.
Yeah.
What we're saying is, go take it to the body shop, but if you really want PDR, I'm going to charge you this. And if they really want it, and I promise you guys, it happens, there are customers who will take it. Talk to me later and I'll tell you a great example of one that recently happened. That will pay more than conventional repair to not paint their car. It's that valuable to the customer. We just don't know. We're just
Believe your worth. You have to.
know your worth.
So here's my mindset, and something that these higher prices allow you to do. I can spend the time on the repair because I'm getting the money, right? I was guilty of it myself. I look at it, I'm like, who's gonna pay me enough to spend the time to fix that? That's wrong. Here's the new mindset that I've adopted, I've taught myself. When we do that, when we look at it and we say, it's X number of dollars, you're not gonna, whatever it is. If we don't price it properly, where I can spend the time to work my craft, I'm selling myself short because I'm not working on a car. More importantly, I'm selling my customers short because I'm telling them that our superior repair can't fix it because I'm afraid to tell them the right price. They need to go to the body shop. It's a disservice to my customer to not price it properly.
Good. Yes, it is. Agreed. You had a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the problem I run into is if the body shop refers people to me or they have a customer that I go there for, they already put it in their head that, I'm lower, and then it's like, what do you do?
change
You gotta educate them.
Yeah, you have to
Listen, this is a big ship. You gotta turn slowly, otherwise you're gonna throw people overboard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The reality is, a great analogy. Okay, I have a 7-year-old son. His bedtime's around 8 o'clock each night. If I tell him at 8 o'clock it's time to go to bed, what does he do? Oh, it takes forever to get him upstairs to brush his teeth. If I tell him at 7:30 that he's getting ready to go to bed at 8 o'clock, when it comes time for 8 o'clock to roll around, he's like, okay. He knows it's coming, you know? So do the same thing with your body shops. Start educating them now. If you want your prices to change within their mind next year, start educating them now. Start letting them know it's coming. So I've given my body shop guys, my adjusters, my insurance adjusters, a copy of the price guide. This is my guide. This is where I want to be around. This is what a retail customer should pay, and then work it out with them. I will tell you, 5 out of the 6 body shops that I service take my retail price and mark it up. One body shop takes a cut out of me. So, and by the way, that retail guide has been used in wholesale situations as well, and they'll pay it.
Absolutely.
In certain situations. I'm not telling you you're going to get your door dings at high retail prices, but there are certain situations where they have that money, they know what it's worth, and they will pay it.
I give this to my wholesale accounts, my car dealers. Say, guys, when you're out there appraising a car, take this out. Man, this is what my dent guy's going to charge me to fix your dent. Because if the customer calls me, that's what I'm going to charge them to fix their dent. It's a tool for them.
And why should a retail customer pay a body shop any less than they would pay us retail to fix a dent? Why would there be that price discrepancy? It doesn't make sense to me. And I've done it. Until I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? But I had to educate my body shops quite a bit. This gentleman right here, sorry, I don't know.
Did you ask a question?
Yeah.
See me afterwards, I got something for you.
All right, another question? I'm sure there's more. Right over here.
Gene, you were talking about mindset and changing that. I'm about 11 years into this business.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Paul. And for a long time, I had to price my repairs as I had to get that job. I didn't know what my next job was going to be,
Right.
so I had to price it low where I got that job. My mindset had to change. I had to price that repair where it needed to be, because if I didn't, then I had an open window for somebody else to come in and I could get a higher repair. I had to change my mindset on getting each job and be prepared for, getting let down. Somebody else.
Listen, the deal is some people are going to turn you away. Okay, that's going to happen. Prices go up. Some people are just shopping for price. If you care about getting the highest dollar for your retail work, then not everybody's going to be your customer. Okay, and you got to be able to produce the work that they're paying for. However, I still agree. I would still say to you or anyone else that at any given day, even if you want the job, go at the highest retail price. I've shot myself in the foot too many times by not doing it, because you don't know when that customer is just going to say yes without negotiating.
And you can work backwards.
And even if the customer negotiates, that price guide puts you at such a point that you can lose a certain percentage and still feel really good about taking the time to give them a good job.
So
have you guys experienced that, those of you who are implementing the price guide? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything I'm missing? Okay, next question. Sorry.
Well, let me touch on his mindset real quick.
Yes, sir.
So, Paul's in a great, busy shop, booked out, full on. Over the last year, I've gone from 10% retail to 90% retail. Well, guess what? I'm not booked solid every single day with retail. I'll go out. I will anchor high. I'm also selling at a level where, back to sort of like you were asking, there's a number where I'll come down to that X number of dollars is a whole lot more than zero. If that's what I need to do to get that job to fill my day, as a mindset, that's what I will do. But I anchor here, and I will give away to get down to where I need to be to get that job. So that's just a mindset play on words. I'd love to be in Paul's position. I'm not there yet, but I'm working towards it. So
I got a long way to go too. So, Steve, so you know.
When you-
learning.
Oh, okay.
When you, moving on.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
When you go higher price like that, are you over your customer's deductibles? And are you
Many
involved in
times.
an insurance company?
Many times, yes, and it happens all across the board. I'll have customers who pay out of pocket. I'll have customers that will go to an insurance claim. I don't discourage insurance.
And I do the exact same thing.
And I'll tell you what, if I usually, there are always some pre-qualifying questions that I ask. Hello, my name is Paul. How did it happen? Who's paying for it? You're already, hopefully, you've got that ground game down. You're getting an idea for what is really going on here. Who's ultimately paying for the damage? Because if their neighbor hit it, it's on their neighbor's insurance, most likely, or out of their pocket. Okay? If the tree in their yard fell on it, it's a comprehensive claim. You know what I mean? That's a natural no-fault incident. You can't, so why not claim it on your comprehensive? And a customer would rather, they don't mind making the comprehensive claim. It doesn't really affect them. It might make their premiums go up. I'm not sure, depending on the policy. But it would be the equivalent of a hail claim or a deer strike. So, and it happens all kinds of ways, and customers will pay all kinds of ways. But at the end of the day, if they really want it, and if it's the customer that you really want, they'll figure out a way to make that happen, whether they have to make a claim or not. I will tell you this, full disclosure, as you continue to price things higher and do bigger and bigger damage, you will end up writing more, filing more insurance claims, or your customers will, and you will have to have more conversations with adjusters and figure out how to justify the prices that you're asking for on side panels, okay? So know your business, document and justify everything, and learn what the lingo is that you need to connect with those adjusters and so on and so forth. Do you see how all of this stuff kind of pieces together? Like, we are becoming more legitimate and more recognized even within the collision world because we're starting to cross over into collision repair. It's not just PDR anymore, it's now PDR and kind of collision repair, and the insurance companies and body shops know that. So we need to start to understand how we can work better with them and speak their language and justify and document this stuff. Make sense? But you will, yes, you will see more insurance companies, and I love it. Let's do it. I'll work with your insurance company. I'll wait 2 days to get triple the price on that job, because I can sell it to you for less than your deductible, and probably be okay. Or I can let you make a claim, wait 2 days, and I could potentially triple
Do the same
what I would
thing.
make.
So let's wrap it up with final thoughts here. We have about a minute left.
My final thoughts are, you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
A round of applause.